What's happening with my heart and lungs?
What's happening with your brain?
Why was my hospital appointment such a scramble?
Because of your brain.
Why was it so difficult to find the door?
Brain!
What's going on with the random song?
La la la.
What?
What?
Come with me through the curtain of blurred colons and find out what's going on in my cancer chemo story. Welcome to the Tumotastic.
Video diary number 44.
Hi, Skatz here.
I know who you are.
It's Friday, October the 19th, and welcome to video diary number 44 on Still Alive, where we don't like to die before we die, right? Not good for you. Don't let the bastards grind you down.
You're worthless.
So I got my new glasses early this week. Do you like? Tortoise shell, very stylish. But how many tortoises had to die to make them?
It's just a pattern.
The morning after I got them, I got a phone call from the hospital, in Spanish of course, and I'd only just woken up, so my brain hadn't caught up with the rest of me and I was all in the nude.
Oh no, don't put that image in my head.
I hadn't been expecting a call because at the consult the surgeon said I'd get a letter about the pre-op tests, not a phone call, but I managed to understand the woman on the phone, and that's what she was calling about. She said, was I free the next day to do the ECG and breathing tests? Well, I said, yes, of course, it'll be good to get them out of the way, but I didn't look at my diary to check whether Liz was using the car or not. I thought she'd said she was working at home. That's what my brain thought.
You ain't got no brain.
So that was all booked in, and you can't call them back to cancel because it's impossible to get through to the right department. Anyway, after the call, my brain started to wake up a little bit, and I checked the diary and it said Liz was out and about in the car tomorrow. So I said, oh bugger, how am I going to get there and back? So I put on my dressing gown and went downstairs to tell Liz, and I felt bad, because it made us both feel very anxious. I was stressing about having to make a whole video in a few hours that day, and Liz had a lot of work to do too, but she sent a message out to see if any of my volunteer lift givers were free. We hadn't asked any of them for a while.
Stressy, stressy, stressy makes you a ponce.
It took most of the day to find somebody who was free. I don't like these last minute things. Do you like them? No, you probably don't. It was an emergency panic. And it didn't help when Liz asked on Facebook and lots of people said, why don't you get a taxi? But it's nearly 200 quid for there and back and we can't afford that. And besides, she'd asked for help, not an advert for taxi companies, which all sounded like people were having a go at her for daring to ask for a favour, and that's just mean.
You bloody scrounger.
But thankfully, someone who'd kindly offered a lift back in April was free. I said, oh, that's nice. I think we'd forgotten to put him on the list back then, but he heard on Facebook we were looking and got in touch. Funny thing was, we didn't recognise his name, so we looked on Facebook to see if we recognised his face, and there wasn't a good picture, just loads of motorbikes and scooters. I said to Liz, I hope he doesn't turn up on a motorbike. I haven't got the right protective clothing for that.
You're gonna fall off and burst your brain.
Turned out I didn't need any protective clothing after all. He had a nice car and he turned up a bit early, which was nice because it meant I'd have time to get some breakfast in Malaga before my appointments. And do you know what? He was lovely to talk to and had lots of stories to tell about. He ended up in Mallorca first and then mainland Spain, and all the bureaucratic mountains he had to climb up with his wife to finally end up in Compita. I said to him, oh, that's nice. How would you like to come on YouTooSpain and talk about it on Saturday? Because Chris is laid up with his arm. He said, I'm not sure. I'll have a think. I think it was a bit of a shock to him.
Nobody wants to talk to you.
So we had a coffee at the cafe and that was nice. Did you know that's the same word in Spanish? Cafe means coffee, or back to front, as well as cafe, where you have a coffee. You don't have to have a coffee in a cafe. You can just have a sandwich if that's what you want, and that's called a bocadildo. No, I don't think that's right, but I had one anyway. A sandwich, I mean, with chorizo for me breakfast. I didn't know if I'd get a chance to eat again before we got back home, so that was nice. I'm not really supposed to eat bread.
What's that got got to do with anything?
Then it was time for my first appointment, so I went into the hospital and found the right department, but I was hanging about outside a few different doors. I said, where am I supposed to be? They said, not in here, try over there. So I went over there and I said, am I supposed to be in here? They said, oh no, go down that corridor and round the corner. So I went there and said, I've got an appointment, and they said, not in here, go down there past the flowers, that's where they do the ECG. I said, oh, that's nice, I like flowers, I'll do that then. But there was a note on the door saying, don't knock, just wait for someone to come out. So I did that for a while, and eventually someone did, and it was the right room, so that was nice. And I did all of that in Spanish.
It was confusing enough in English.
The nurse was lovely, but she was a bit confused when I said I was having my operation in December. I think she expected it to be sooner. I said, well, I've only just finished my treatment a few weeks ago. And she said, oh, you're doing it that way round, are you? I said, yes. Is that not normal? She said, most people have their operation first. I said, not me. She said, oh, yours must have been bigger. I said, that's a bit personal. And she laughed and stuck the sticky things on me for the test. And I said, I've had 2 coffees this morning. Will that be a problem for the test? She said, no. I said, oh, that's nice. And then it were done, and she handed me the paperwork and took me round to where I'd have the breathing test, but I didn't know the word for it in Spanish, so we both had to mime breathing heavily.
I do that a lot on the phone. It scares people.
Talking about breathing, the test was like the one police used to test whether you've been drinking, only a lot bigger. They said, come on, put your gob round this tube, and they breathed with me to tell me what to do. I think I blew a bit hard and fast because they told me to keep going, but I'd already blown my lungs flat, so I just had to run on empty until they told me to breathe in again. Anyway, everything seemed to be all right, and I was out there even before my appointment time, which was nice. So I headed out and back to the cafe for a snack, and my volunteer liftman said, I went for a walk and found that music shop you told me about because I'd mentioned it earlier. I forgot to tell you. I think it was when the coffee kicked in. So he said, we can go and have a look at the guitars if you want. I said, oh, that's nice. Let's do that then. So we did, and they had loads of guitars, but I didn't play any because my fingers were all sticky with cake, and I knew if I started playing I wouldn't want to stop, and my liftman would be left twiddling his thumbs because he's into motorbikes, not guitars.
Bloody guitars again, stop it!
So that was fun anyway, just having a quick look. I said, I'll come back another day as it's near the hospital and have a proper play. So we headed back to the car and set off home. I said, oh, I didn't go to visit the stoma nurse, but the ECG nurse seemed to be suggesting I'd have another consult with the doctor when he gets all of my results back, so I'll go and see her then. He'll have my blood test results through by then as well. I went to the health centre this morning for that, and that was very quick too. I was in and out and back home before the time of me appointment, which was nice.
Why is everything so bloody nice to you?
Hey, do you know what? I've now got enough random words to make the next song for you, so I'll get working on that. Here's the list of words you suggested, including 1 or 2 I've added myself, and if any of you want to try and make something out of them too, you know, a song, a poem, or just a nice paper hat, anything you fancy, then do it and send them to me. Well, the songs and that, I don't really want a paper hat, and I'll do something with them, you know. That'll be nice. We'll show everybody what talents you've got as well. Here we go then. Here's the words: tickety-boo, squidgy-poo, bollocks. You've got this. No diet for me. Get me on the Rod Stewart tour. Restless legs. Sweetness. Wretched rectum. Oh, that's a good one. All ferrets and whippets. Clogs and flat caps. Interesting people. Sharp as a marble. It looked like a Sasquatch. Abracababra. Double Bushmills and a packet of potatoes. Joey Ramone. La lucha continua. Tangent. Magnetron. Quark. Athlete's foot. Cohort. TARDIS. Campanologist. Losing my loops. Bleeding like Roadrunner. And nuff said. Now that's a big list, and I'm going to put them all in one song somehow. Watch this space for a whole separate video.
Oh, I can't wait.
La! On that note, that's all for this week, but next week I'll be back and I'm sure I'll have plenty more to talk about. Thank you so much for continuing to follow my story and sharing your own experiences and words and sending those lovely messages of support. Tune in next Friday for another thrilling episode of
Put your fingers in your ears, he's got a guitar.
Keep your fingers and your toes crossed, you lovely people, and as always, raise your drinking receptacle with me. The toast is still alive.
Still a bloody guitarist.
Let's all do the still alive dance.
No, 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 no.